My name is Vera Langley, and I'm 29.
Sunday night smelled like cumin and old stories. Christian's aunt swears her stew cures heartbreak and hangovers. We'd hosted his cousins after church because family keeps us honest, he'd said, kissing my forehead as if the sentence had never ruined anyone. The TV murmured a soccer recap, the dishwasher breathed, and the living room was a quilt of coats and laughter. I was still learning how to fold myself into.
They left late. I gathered wine glasses and wrappers like evidence of warmth. On the sofa arm, Lucio's phone lit up. WhatsApp, Operation American Dream, U.S. And then, in the preview, a sentence like a blade. Vera's sugar bank won't know what hit him if she cries at the right moments.
It said him, but the thread that followed would fix that pronoun for me.
I didn't mean to pick it up. Curiosity is the prettier word for survival. The chat was pinned, loud, with green check marks and bad emojis. Christian, Marisol, Lucio, Elian, Daniel. I scrolled back months, then farther, my breath shrinking into the spaces between words. Christian. Milestone, engaged. Ring 18 months ahead of schedule. Marisol. 2 years after green card, 3 to be safe, then divorce. Daniel. At least she's not ugly. Could be worse. Christian. She's boring. Budget spreadsheets and retirement funds. Who cares? Elian. But that's citizenship, though. Christian. Only reason I'm suffering through those terrible kisses. Man thinks he's romantic. Sorry, girl thinks. Whatever. The room tilted. The dishwasher hissed like it knew. Photos. Screenshots. A mock-up of divorce papers already templated with my last name. A countdown widget labeled Freedom Day. A doc from Roberto, their lawyer friend, with bullet points on avoiding detection. A thread about adding Christian to my insurance. A chart of how community property could make me bleed politely. And there she was, the name that cracked the floorboards. Alejandra. Christian. Already picked the real wedding suit for when I marry Alejandra. True love waits. Marisol. What if Vera finds out? Christian. She won't. Too trusting. Yesterday she said she loves how genuine I am. I took photos of everything. All of it. My hands were steady because the rest of me wasn't. When the bile came, I barely reached the bathroom. I washed my face until the mirror fogged, and I couldn't see the person whose life had just been edited without consent. When I came out, Christian stood in the kitchenette, shirt sleeves rolled, humming our song while coaxing foam from the espresso machine I'd financed at Christmas. He turned, smile bright enough to make a fool reconsider. Bébé, you look pale, he said. Pre-wedding nerves? Everything will be perfect. Perfect is a word that ages fast. I'm fine, I lied, and he kissed my cheek with the practiced gentleness of a pickpocket. After he left for a quick call with Daniel, I sat at the table and opened a blank note titled, Facts. Not feelings, not yet. Chat name, members. Timeline, engagement, Freedom Day, divorce plan. Evidence, screenshots, documents, photos at club with Alejandra dated 2 months ago, the same week he flew home for his grandmother's funeral. Financial asks, insurance, venue upgrades, down payment, gift they plan to keep after divorce. I called Tara. We'd gone to high school together. She does immigration law now. I spoke in hypotheticals like a child with crumbs on her face. Suppose someone discovers communications that suggest marriage fraud. Hypothetically, Tara said, voice shifting into the cadence of court. Marriage fraud is a federal crime. Up to 5 years, $250,000. Deportation and a permanent bar for the non-citizen. But listen, if you're wrong, false reporting can backfire. You need solid proof. Hypothetically, I answered, what counts as solid? Documented admissions, timelines, co-conspirators, financial planning tied to the fraud. She paused. And you can't blow the cover. If an investigation opens, you act normal. You keep receipts. You endure. I looked at the coffee machine, at the empty couch where we'd argued about plate colors and napkin rings for a wedding that was suddenly a set. I have all of that, I said, hypothetically. Then you file a tip, Tara said softly, and you let the professionals tell you what's next. I'm sorry, V. Clicking submit on the tip form didn't feel righteous. It felt like pushing a boulder that had already been rolling long before I noticed. The agent who called me back had a voice like good gravel. Ms. Langley, we received your report and evidence. We'll verify and coordinate with local authorities. You'll need to continue normal wedding activities to avoid alerting the subject. You want me to plan my wedding, I said, to a man who is planning my divorce? I need you to be safe, he said, and to let us do our job. After we hung up, I stood in the doorway of the spare room where the dress hung, a soft cloud I'd paid for in installments, a future I'd imagined in clean lines. I tried to cry, and nothing came. The body has its own calendar. I opened my laptop to finalize the tasting menu Christian insisted we upgrade. Once in a lifetime, he'd said. Yeah, I whispered to the zipper of the dress. Once. That week, the house shifted. Christian touched me more, posted more, insisted on choreographed candids. His mother called to discuss grandchildren, soon, and his father asked again about adding him to my work's insurance, their voices sweet as doorbells. In the group chat, Marisol typed, "Milk it, bro. Get honeymoon, then ghost." Christian replied with a string of hearts and a knife. I pinned my hair for a fitting I wouldn't need, practiced vows I wouldn't say, and filed every receipt like it might testify later. When the agent called again, it was raining so hard the city looked like it was being erased. "Ms. Langley, we've verified enough to move forward. Will you arrest him at—" I couldn't finish the sentence. I didn't want to hear the word alter spoken by a stranger. "I can't discuss operational details," he said. "Proceed as planned." I set the phone down and ran my thumb over the silver band he'd picked, because it looked expensive in photos. Somewhere, far away and still too near, a countdown app flickered closer to Freedom Day. I opened my calendar and named a new event. Justice. No emoji, no hearts, just a time and a place and a promise I would keep. The week before the wedding stretched like an elastic about to snap. Everything looked picture perfect. The floral arch, the champagne flutes, the emails full of congratulations. But underneath, the air was too clean, too rehearsed. Christian moved through the days like a man auditioning for sainthood. He brought breakfast in bed, texted me hourly, posted "can't wait to marry my forever" under photos of us laughing. Photos that suddenly looked like stills from a crime documentary. On Tuesday, his sister Marisol called. "Vera, you're so lucky," she cooed. "My brother's been dreaming about this day since forever." I looked at the seating chart on my laptop, the names that hid accomplices. "Yeah," I said, "he's unforgettable." That night, Christian came home humming. He wrapped his arms around me from behind, his breath warm at my neck. "You seem tense, amor." "Just pre-wedding nerves," I said. "Big week." He kissed my shoulder. "Once we're married, everything gets easier." I smiled at the wall. "For who?" He laughed, not hearing the weight in it. Thursday, the rehearsal dinner. A ballroom lit like heaven, but it smelled like money. His parents glowed, his cousins toasted, and the air buzzed with bilingual blessings. My family sat quiet at the far end, polite, confused by all the extravagance Christian had insisted on paying for with my savings. When the mic passed to Marisol, she clinked her glass. "To Christian and Vera, the perfect couple, the perfect plan, wedding." The room laughed. I didn't. Her slip was microscopic, but my ears were tuned for treachery now. Christian squeezed my hand. "Ignore her, she's nervous," he whispered. The irony bit deep. Nervous wasn't the word for someone with a federal file and a hidden countdown to deportation. I met Tara in my car later that night, parked 2 blocks from my house. She slid into the passenger seat with a folder. "They've confirmed everything," she said quietly. "They want you to proceed as planned. The operation's set." The word operation hung between us like a noose. "What happens to me?" I asked. "They'll need your cooperation. Stay calm. Keep normal contact. You'll get a call the morning of." I stared at my reflection in the window. "So I have to walk down that aisle, knowing he'll be arrested beside me?" Tara nodded. "And knowing you'll finally be free." I laughed once, sharp and small. Free doesn't feel how I imagined. Friday night, Christian came home drunk on celebration and compliments. His cousin Elian had thrown him a brother's night out. He dropped onto the couch beside me and stared at the ceiling. "Can you believe it?" he said dreamily. "In 2 days, you'll be my wife." I traced the rim of my wineglass. "You think about the future much?" He grinned. "Of course. You, me, house, maybe business, then travel. After papers, we'll finally have options." "Papers," I repeated softly. "That's what love means to you?" He turned toward me, brow furrowed. "What's wrong?" "Nothing," I said. "Just thinking how people show their love in different languages." He kissed me then, deeply, as if his mouth could erase evidence. I let him, memorizing the feeling of deceit against my teeth. Saturday morning, the sky over Nashville cracked open blue and merciless. The agent called as I stood in my dressing room, hair half pinned, veil draped across the chair. "Ms. Langley," he said, voice steady. "We're in position. Stay calm. Keep to schedule." "Understood." When I hung up, my reflection stared back at me. Lipstick flawless, eyes hollow. My maid of honor, Ruth, peeked in. "You okay?" "I'm about to make history," I said, "one way or another." She laughed, not knowing how right I was. At the venue, guests floated like petals in perfume and chatter. Christian's mother hugged me, with tears already pooling. "You're such a blessing," she said in Spanish. "You'll make him so happy." "Let's hope he feels the same way," I murmured. Christian's father clapped my back like a business partner sealing a deal. "Family now, eh?" "Yeah," I said, "about that." The ceremony coordinator whispered, 5 minutes. I caught a glimpse of Christian at the altar. Perfect suit, practiced grin. The man I'd loved, the man who'd rehearsed betrayal. Somewhere outside, I knew black cars waited. I lifted the bouquet, inhaled. "Let's do this," I told Ruth. She smiled. "You sound brave." "Brave," I said, "is just terrified with better posture." The music swelled, the doors opened. And as I took that first step down the aisle, every camera flashed, every lie trembled. In less than 10 minutes, the word perfect would finally break. The aisle looked longer than I remembered. White petals scattered under my shoes, like the bones of promises. Christian waited at the altar, flawless, glowing, performing. He mouthed, "You look beautiful." If he'd known what was coming, maybe he would have meant it. Each step I took was deliberate. My heart beat steady, not from love anymore, but from purpose. Behind the music, my ears caught faint sounds, the creak of doors closing, the rustle of uniforms waiting outside. Christian reached for my hands as I arrived. His smile was cinematic. "Mi vida," he whispered. "You're trembling." "I know," I said softly. "It's a big day." He laughed gently, brushing a thumb over my wrist, not realizing I'd stopped wearing the bracelet he'd given me. The one engraved forever. Forever had a deadline now. The officiant began. I barely heard him. My eyes scanned the crowd, his family radiant with expectation, my mother pale with confusion, Tara seated quietly near the back, pretending to be another guest, but watching everything. "Do you, Christian Delgado, take Vera Langley?" The doors at the back opened, not dramatically, professionally. 2 ICE agents in navy suits, 3 local police officers. They didn't rush. They moved. The officiant faltered mid-vow. The guests turned like a single organism sensing danger. One of the agents raised a badge. "Mr. Christian Delgado?" Christian blinked, smile frozen. "See? What?" "Please step aside. We have a federal warrant for your arrest under 8 U.S.C. Section 1525C, marriage fraud conspiracy." The silence shattered. His mother screamed his name. His father tried to lunge forward, stopped by an officer. Voices spiraled. Spanish curses, gasps, phones rising like a sea of witnesses. Christian turned to me, disbelief melting into panic. "Vera, what did you do?" I met his eyes. Calm. "You should have been more careful with your group chats." His face drained. "You!" He lunged, half-stepped toward me, before 2 agents caught his arms. He twisted, shouting, "You ruined my life. You think this makes you righteous? You think they'll love you for this?" "I don't need love," I said quietly. "Just truth." He spat, "You pathetic." The agents hauled him back. His cuffed hands trembled. "It was love," he shouted. "You don't understand, Vera. It was love." I shook my head. Then your kind of love should come with a warning label. Behind him, Marisol shouted, "She set you up! Entrapment!" Lucio filmed, screaming, "We'll sue!" Daniel cursed in English and Spanish, calling me a snake. My father, sitting in the front row, didn't move. He just exhaled, long and low, the way he used to after diagnosing a problem he'd already seen coming. When the agents led Christian past me, he stopped struggling for a heartbeat. "I would have given you everything," he hissed. "You were already taking it," I said. And then he was gone. The ceremony dissolved into chaos. Guests crying, shouting, pushing past pews. Reporters, how had they known? Hovered near the doors. Christian's family clustered, swearing, pleading. Ruth found me standing motionless by the altar. "Vera, are you okay?" I blinked, realizing my veil had slipped half off. I guess not a wife after all. "Do you want to leave?" "No," I said, surprising myself. "I'm staying." Tara appeared beside me, discreet but firm. They'll need your statement later today. Are you all right? Define all right, I murmured. She gave me a sad smile. You did the right thing. Did I? Watching Christian's mother collapse in sobs, hearing his father's guttural cry. It didn't feel right. It felt like Justice's colder twin, necessary, but cruel. The venue manager approached awkwardly. Ms. Langley, do you want us to cancel the reception? I looked at the untouched cake gleaming under its sugar lace. No, I said. People came for a story. Let's give them one. By 4 o'clock, half the guests had fled, half lingered in stunned silence. Then Ruth, ever the chaos queen, tapped a fork to a glass. Okay, everyone, she said. We have food, we have a DJ, and we have Vera, stronger than ever. Let's eat. A laugh rippled through the air, tentative, human. Someone clapped, then another. The DJ, confused but committed, played Before He Cheats. I didn't dance. I sat by the window with a glass of champagne that tasted like endings, watching petals scatter in the wind outside. At 6, I went to the station, handed over the folder labeled facts, signed the statements. The detective, an older woman with tired eyes, skimmed the pages. Ms. Langley, she said, this is airtight. He'll face serious charges. Do you think he'll claim he loved me? They always do, she replied, but you documented everything. That's what saves you. When I got home, the dress hung in the closet, still smelling of lavender starch and fear. I didn't cry, not then. I just unzipped it, folded it carefully, and whispered, perfect, right? Because sometimes justice doesn't arrive with a sword. It shows up in heels, holding evidence, and walks itself down the aisle. The morning after the arrest, I woke up to silence so deep it felt physical. No messages, no good morning text, no hum from the espresso machine, just the faint drip of the kitchen tap I'd been meaning to fix, a reminder that some leaks don't stop until you wrench them yourself.
By noon, my phone came alive.
Unknown number. You ruined an innocent man's life. Karma will find you. Another. He just wanted a chance. You're heartless. A third. We know where you live.
I forwarded them all to the detective. She wrote back within minutes. Already expected this. We'll handle it. Stay cautious.
By evening, someone had keyed my car. A single word, jagged and all caps. Snitch. I stared at it for a long time. Then I took a photo, added it to the file, and called my insurance company with a voice steadier than it had any right to be. 2 days later, Christian's mother Rosa showed up at my office. She made it past the lobby before security stopped her, but her voice carried, sharp, cracking, desperate.
You destroyed my son, she screamed. He loved you, you selfish American garbage. He was just trying to live.
My coworkers froze. I stepped out only far enough to meet her eyes through the glass. He tried to live through me, I said quietly. That's not love, Senora. That's theft. Security escorted her out while she cursed in 2 languages and called me bruja. That night, Tara called. It's moving fast. Christian's family hired a lawyer, Roberto, same cousin from the chat. He's claiming entrapment. I laughed, hollow. So I lured him into committing a federal crime? He'll try anything, she said. But the agents have everything. Messages, photos, financial trails. They've also started looking into his relatives. A lot of visa irregularities. I pinched the bridge of my nose. How deep does this go? Deep enough that ICE formed a task file with their last name on it. The following week, I was subpoenaed to testify. Christian appeared in court wearing orange, thinner, hair unkempt but still charming when the cameras flashed. He looked at me once, half plea, half venom. His lawyer went for sympathy. My client was a man under pressure, his family's expectations, his culture, his love for Ms. Langley. The prosecutor interrupted, sliding a printout across the table, a screenshot from the group chat. Christian, only reason I'm kissing her is for the passport. After that, Freedom Day. The courtroom murmured. His lawyer stammered something about dark humor. Then came the Instagram post from the night before our wedding. Last night of freedom. Tomorrow I secure the bag. Hashtag green card goals. Hashtag sorry not sorry. Even Christian winced when he saw it. The judge sighed. Mr. Delgado, this wasn't desperation. This was calculation. Christian snapped then. You think I'm the only one? Everyone does this. You make it impossible for us to stay, to dream, so we adapt. His mother sobbed. His father shouted something I couldn't catch before a guard warned him. The judge's gavel fell like thunder. Enough. Mr. Delgado, you are hereby sentenced to 8 months in federal detention, followed by deportation and a lifetime bar from re-entry to the United States. Christian turned to me, face trembling. I hope you die alone. I met his gaze. Better than living a lie. The fallout spread like wildfire. Rosa and Miguel, deported within the month. Expired visas. Marisol, her student visa revoked for aiding fraud. Lucio, caught using a fake social security number. Arrested. Elian, lost his job after news of the investigation surfaced. Roberto, the cousin lawyer, under review by the Bar Association.
Turns out Christian's family had run this scam before, with 2 other relatives marrying U.S. citizens for papers. They'd turned it into an enterprise. I was just the next file in their spreadsheet.
3 months later, Christian married Alejandra back in Honduras. The photos were everywhere. White linen suit, seaside vows, her caption reading, "Real love doesn't need visas." 2 weeks later, he left her. Screenshots flooded social media, messages between him and another woman. Once she gets citizenship, I'll join. Easy money. Pregnancy gets more sympathy in divorce. Alejandra went nuclear online, exposing him. The irony tasted bitter and perfect. I started therapy. Dr. Nguyen, a quiet woman with calm hands, told me healing wasn't about closure. It was about boundaries.
You didn't lose a partner, she said. You escaped a con.
I smiled thinly. Then why does it still feel like grief?
Because you loved an illusion, she said, and illusions take time to bury.
Months passed. My inbox stopped buzzing with hate. The news cycle moved on. Christian became just another footnote in a cautionary headline. One evening, my co-worker Ashton offered to walk me to my car after a late shift. I said yes. He didn't ask questions, didn't press, just matched my pace in the cold air. At the parking lot, he hesitated. Dinner sometime? I looked at him, steady eyes, no secrets I could see. Maybe, I said. But fair warning, I check group chats now.
He grinned. Then I'm already safer than most.
I laughed for the first time in months. Last week, I got a letter from the Department of Homeland Security. Case officially closed. Attached was a simple line, "Thank you for your cooperation." I folded it into my journal, next to a photo from my almost wedding day. Me standing alone at the altar, veil slipping, but upright. Beneath it, I wrote, "Sometimes love teaches you law. Sometimes betrayal teaches you boundaries. And sometimes justice wears your dress."